Omagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitanjena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vande Shri Guru Gaurango Radha Govinda Sundaro Sagunao Giyate Chata Gita Gurarta Gauravam. So we are continuing with our reading study of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. We have reached chapter 10 and we are on the 11th verse, which is the fourth of these four verses, which we are told can be considered the four principal verses of Bhagavad Gita, representing the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So we can chant this verse 11. Tesham mevanukampatam aham agyanajam tamaha nashayamyatma bhavasto jnanadipena basvata. Out of compassion for them, I, situated within the hearts of all living beings, dispel the darkness of ignorance with the radiance of knowledge. Or we have a second translation here, as in the previous verse, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is drawing out, we're being presented with the more general translation, but Srila Sridhar Maharaj is also drawing out a finer translation. So then the second translation given here, or being conquered by the love of those devotees who in their unalloyed loving devotion become afflicted by the all-devouring darkness born of their pangs of separation from me. I illuminate their hearts with my divine presence, destroying the darkness of their pain of separation. So, this is something that we'll often see, right? That there are different layers of meaning which are relevant to different classes of readers, depending upon what level of realization that they're at, right? And whichever class you're in, this is a very reassuring verse, right? That the Lord is saying here, Sri Krishna is saying that, showing mercy upon souls such as ourselves who are striving to know him and approach him, with the lamp of divine shining knowledge, he will illuminate our hearts and bestow spiritual knowledge upon us. Jnana dipena, a very beautiful phrase, the lamp, the deep of jnana, of knowledge. So this is a more general translation, which is applicable to ourselves, right? We are this, there's this famous Vedic expression found, I believe, in the Upanishads. Probably Jayadev can say exactly where it is. This asato ma sadgamaya, right? Tamaso ma jyotir gamaya, and mrityam mam amritam gamaya. And this, and one of the, and it's a very, Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses this verse. It's very general and very relevant, all across the board, whatever your ideology is. It's a wonderful way to connect with persons on spiritual topics, because it rings true for everyone, whatever your specific conception is, right? But one of the points here, so it's saying, from asat, right, from temporality, and this sat and asat can be translated a little differently, right? Sat can be translated as truth, also as eternity. But in Srila Sridhar Maharaj's explanation, he chooses, impermanence, from asat, from impermanence, from temporality, take me to permanence, take me to eternity, right? And then, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj points out very nicely how, so many persons are engaged in research in so many spheres in this world. But this verse is pointing out where we really need to begin our research, right? Because we can research and discover and create so many things, but if we haven't solved this fundamental problem that we are in an unstable existence, that we could die tomorrow, then everything we're discovering is useless, right? You could discover so many wonderful things, but then we could all just die in the next moment. So first we need to find a stable plane of existence where we don't have to worry about that basic fundamental need to live, to continue living. So that is the first thing to discover, right? How can we live after? Is there life after death? And if so, how can I achieve that? What is the means by which I can achieve that? Right? And then the second point is tamaso vajotir gamaya. That I'm living in tamas, ignorance, darkness. My knowledge is lacking. Whatever little knowledge I have is pertaining to temporary truths in the relative plane. And that is also a very limited degree. So from this darkness, from this ignorance, take me to light, to jyoti. Take me to light, take me to knowledge. Light is often representing knowledge, right? Higher spiritual knowledge. So this is one of our fundamental needs. And this is also mentioned in this famous verse that we always chant, right? Om Ajnana Timirandasya. We're living in the darkness, the blinding darkness of Ajnan, of ignorance. And this is the significance of Sri Guru, right? That they are coming and opening our eyes, removing the cataracts, giving us vision, right? So Sambandha Gyan, right? Having proper knowledge, proper acquaintance with our environment, proper understanding of what is what and who is who. This is our fundamental need, right? Just like Srila Sridhar Maharaj points out, if you have a disease, the first need is to have a diagnosis, right? Before you undergo treatment, first you need a diagnosis. That is the first step, the first need. Otherwise, we are running here and there, hither and thither, trying so many different courses of treatment and approaching so many different classes of doctors, but there hasn't as yet been any clear diagnosis. So this is our first need, that we need knowledge, we need truth, we need light. So this is Krishna's beautiful promise and benediction here, right? Those who are sincerely trying to approach me, I will illuminate their hearts, with the lamp of divine knowledge. So then there's a finer. Right. Remember, what is the title of this particular edition? Right. Krishna, our friend here, our brother Krishna Kesh was asking which edition we're reading. There are so many editions of Bhagavad-Gita, but this particular edition that we're reading, it is titled The Hidden Treasure of the Sweet Absolute. There are so many classes of knowledge, so many layers of understanding that are running throughout the Vedas. Right? But what is the most hidden and essential truth? What is that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? That is what is the specialty of this edition, that it is our Guru Dev, our Param Guru, Srila Sridhar Maharaj. He's honing in on the finer points, on that finer treasure for those who have that need within their heart. Right? Ultimately, the Lord is catering to our need. And so for those who have some finer type of hankering, some finer, more sophisticated type of hunger, right? Some people, when they're hungry, they're just happy to go out and grab a hamburger or grab some white bread down at the corner shop, But other persons, when they go out, they want to go and, have some, vegan, gluten-free, organic, or biodynamic dish, right? From a homegrown enterprise, right? So for those who have some finer taste, some finer need, this Bhagavad Gita is catering to those. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj is drawing out another point here, which is not actually relevant for persons like ourselves at our current stage of practice. We are practitioners, right? Sadhakas. We are not siddhas. We are not realized souls. And that's something we always want to remember. We can't move forward unless we know where we are right now, right? Where are we starting? What's our starting point right now? So, but we are very happy, and it's very also healthy for us to appreciate the ideal, right? What is the ideal which we are approaching, right? That will refine our taste, refine our hunger, refine our understanding and our appreciation for what this is. So then this second meaning is describing those very great advanced souls, who have a deep loving relationship with the Lord, who are living a life of divine love with the Lord, and they are experiencing this feeling of divine separation, vipralamba or viraha, as it's also called, this divine separation from the Lord. And this is something which it may mirror, the lamentation or delusion that we find in this world of mundane emotion and feeling, but it's all taking place on a spiritual platform. And it's all taking place also to enhance the loving relationship that these souls have with the Lord. Just as, separation from a beloved, right, enhances the union, right? In that way, we can get some idea. So then Srila Srinivas is drawing out this meaning that the Lord is giving this reassurance that these great souls, when they're experiencing the pain of this separation, then he will come and give some reassurance of his divine presence and his love and connection with them. So I don't know if I read that already, I'll read it again. Being conquered by the love of those devotees. And this phrase is also very beautiful, right? Being conquered, because this is the nature of the Lord, of the absolute, of the divine in his highest expression. He likes to be conquered. He likes to be controlled. He likes to be subdued by the love of his devotees. The absolute, God, the divine in his highest expression, he's not interested in a position of power. He's not interested in being the almighty controller, but he always likes to give his beloved followers, friends, devotees, lovers, he likes to give them the higher position. So this is his nature, to be subdued by love, by the love of his devotees. So being conquered by the love of those devotees who in their unalloyed loving devotion become afflicted by the all-devouring darkness born of their pangs of separation from me, I illuminate their hearts with my presence, destroying the darkness of their pain of separation. So the word, if we look in this Sanskrit verse, right, verse 11 here, chapter 10, this word agyan is used, right? So the word gyan is knowledge, and agyan, the A is negating it. So agyan is, no knowledge or ignorance, right? And tamaha, right? Tamaha means ignorance, right? So this is the state that is being described of these souls, but this can also be considered a description in a parallel way of the pain of separation that the great souls experience. As we experience darkness and ignorance, so there's a type of darkness and pain, which is actually a divine emotion that these great souls will experience in their loving relationship with the Lord. And this is a parallel which is you'll see it in other places in the scriptures too. There's an expression in the scripture Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a very beautiful verse of the Braja Gopis, of the divine cowherd maidens of Vrindavan. Tava katam ritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kalmasapam. What is it? Srimad, I forgot tonight. Tava katam ritam tapta jivanam. but it speaks about how this is spoken by the gopis, right, of Vrindavan. And they're speaking about the glories of talks of the Lord, of the Absolute, talks of Krishna, right? And how, and then there's this famous line in the last line, famous phrase in the last line of this verse, this Bodhida Janaha, it's glorifying talks of the Lord and saying that those who spread these messages, these divine messages, they are the greatest welfare workers. They are the most generous persons within this world. They are doing the real welfare work. They are doing the greatest philanthropic work. And they speak about, and this verse also speaks about how these divine messages, they are giving relief to the souls, tapta jivanam, souls who are burning, who are suffering in this mundane existence. But then you can also say, well, this verse is spoken by the Braja Gopis, right, who are liberated souls living the highest life of divine love with Sri Krishna. So then what are they talking about? How can they talk about the darkness, the pain, the suffering of living in this mundane world? And so our gurus, our teachers, they have drawn out this deeper meaning that it can also be understood that they're referring to the suffering of being in separation from Krishna, as these damsels, these divine damsels are experiencing at different times, right? And actually, one other point that I wanted to bring up, and it came up we were discussing this in a recent meeting, some related topic. I can't remember which meeting it was, but one point I wanted to make then, which I didn't at the time, but I can mention it now, is that, this emphasis on kirtan, on connecting with divinity through chanting, through kirtan, through the holy name, this is emphasized, right? And it is also mentioned, and we see that the highest, most profound expression of kirtan, of chanting the holy names of Sri Krishna, it comes out from the heart in a mood of separation. It is like an aspiration to connect, to unite with the Lord, which we can, in a mundane parallel, we can get some idea, right? That you are feeling so much separation from your beloved, you will call out their name, right? With some desire to connect with them in some way, right? So this we see is sometimes demonstrated to be the highest, most profound way in which the name of Sri Krishna, the holy name of the Lord, is called upon, right? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtakam prayers, he describes this, right? This yugayitam nimeshena chakshusha prishayitam shanyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. He's describing, and then the verse before, what is the verse before? How does it begin? Look it up. But in this, what's the verse before that? Dear, this is terrible. I'm forgetting but the verse before this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing this intense mood of separation, right? That the whole world has become a void in absence of you. Tears are streaming from my eyes, and then in the previous verse, he's expressing, and because the Shikshashtakam is describing a development, right? Development of evolution of consciousness. And so in the verse before, Lord Chaitanya is expressing this aspiration to experience this type of divine emotion. Here it is. Nayanam galada shrudaraya varanam gad arudaya gira pulakir nichitam vapukara savanama gahane bhavishyati. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end in the recitation of your name? Right? And then the next verse is this Yugayitam Nimeshana. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I feel a moment to be like a millennium. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I'm feeling everything is vacant in your absence. So this, this is the mood. This is the highest mood that one can experience in chanting the holy name of the Lord, this deep, profound mood of separation. And then, like, when this feeling of separation reaches its zenith point, then the Lord comes and gives his reassurance. Oh, I am here. I am with you. Right? And this is what is being described in this verse. So again, this is a very elevated point of consciousness. It's not exactly relevant for us, but it is uplifting for us and informing us in our understanding and approach towards the ideal. So we can read this commentary here. Of the two translations given above, the first is the most general interpretation of this verse. But if we appreciate pure, non-calculative devotion, jnana shunya bhakti, the Lord's statement here may again appear redundant and inconsistent. When those high devotees are already admitted to be performing continuous and unadulterated service, and even above that, they are situated in the plane of pure love, spontaneous and automatic, raga marg, how can it be harmonized that the Lord will now in the last stage destroy their ignorance, tama, born of misunderstanding, ajnanajam, by giving them knowledge, jnam? So this is a similar point to what came up in our reading of the previous verse, right? That actually, if we're going to appreciate a finer meaning in this verse, then it's clear Krishna is not speaking about ordinary, struggling, conditioned souls of this world, because already it's been established that he's referring to his pure devotees, right? So then if he's speaking about his pure devotees, where is the question of agyan? Where is the question of tama, right? Ignorance. It's already been told that he's speaking about his pure, loving devotees, right? So then this is where Srila Sridhar Maharaj is drawing out this point. Oh, he's on a deeper level. He's speaking about a different type of darkness. He's not just speaking about the ordinary darkness of ignorance that souls like ourselves experience, right? But it must be something else. And that is this point of separation. And welcome to those who all came in a little late. Suyashabu tuned in, and a few others also came in. Radhana Rupini also came in. Dandavat, and I think one or two others also. Welcome, everyone. So Gyan, knowledge, is only a cover, a futile, finite conception. And here, also we have to remember, right, Gyan is used with different connotations, right? Gyan, knowledge, may refer, generally we use it to refer to a dry, theoretical type of knowledge, which is ultimately not very helpful for those in the practice of devotion. And then sometimes it is used in a positive sense, Gyan, knowledge, in the sense of, divine enlightenment, divine knowledge, which we aspire for. So Gyan is only a cover, a futile, finite conception of the infinite absolute. Jnana karmadhyanavritam bhaktir uttama. When they have achieved devotion devoid of the covering of knowledge, how will they again have to return to that knowledge, Gyam? In his commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned that this knowledge is extraordinary, vilakshanam, though he did not enter into specific detail. To clarify this point, we have given the following explanation. Lamentation and delusion are generally known to be symptoms of the mode of ignorance, tamagun. In Jnana Shunya Bhakti, the elevated devotees who take Krishna not as the supreme God, but as a friend, son, husband, or lover, will come to experience lamentation and delusion, but this is only an outward appearance of ignorance. In fact, it is the pain of divine separation. They lament, "Where have you gone?" In this verse, the Lord's statement, Te Sham Evanu Kampartan, generally means, fortunately for them, or to favor them, I dispel their darkness, etc. But it may also be interpreted, I want their favor. I aspire for the favor of those devotees of the highest order. And this is so revolutionary, right? In the theistic world, in the world of religion and spirituality, that supreme divine being, he feels blessed, by his devotees, by his followers. He wants to receive their mercy. He wants to receive their grace. This is a very exalted plane we are hearing of. Very intimate, the inner world, right? The inner home life of the absolute, of the highest divinity. The Lord also says to the gopis in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Mayi bhaktir hi bhutanam amrita tvaya kalpate dishtya yad asan matsneho bhavatinam apanaha. In general, people want devotion to me to achieve eternal life, to cross the limit of mortality and to have eternal life. They come to me and worship me. For these reasons, they want my service. But fortunately for you, O gopis, you have some natural affection towards me. That will ultimately bring you to me. This is the general meaning. However, in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has drawn out the inner meaning of what Krishna is saying to the gopis, which is just the opposite. Through devotion, everyone wants me to help them attain the highest position of eternal benefit. And if they have a connection with me, they consider themselves fortunate. But I consider myself fortunate because I've come in touch with the valuable affection that I found in your hearts. By my fortune, I've got your association. So this is the plane of Jnana Shunya Bhakti. This is a helpful phrase, a knowledge-free devotion, right? The highest devotees of the Lord, they're not approaching him in order to get something from him, even in the sense of a spiritual benediction. But it's an they don't have any awareness that he is the God, he is the divinity. Right? They're just approaching him because they're automatically, irresistibly attracted to his beauty, to his charm, by his love, and so on. So this is just as we will appreciate that, right, in our own lives, that people like us just for who we are, right? People aren't becoming friends with us because they want something or they need something from us, but they just like us for who we really are. So God also feels like that, and Krishna also feels like that. And everybody's coming to me because they want something from me, whether it's material or spiritual. They all want something from me. But I feel blessed. I've come in connection with the natural love that you have in your hearts for me. You like me for who I am. So I feel blessed to have connected with that, to receive that. Very touching expression. Therefore, here in Sri Gita, the Lord is saying, Te sham evanu kampartam, being conquered by the love of those unalloyed devotees, when I cannot tolerate their pain of separation, I at once come running to satisfy them. And I reveal to them with special light, special consciousness, I have returned to you. See me now. With powerful brilliance, jnana deepena, this phrase again, right? Jnana deep, jnana, the lamp, shining torch, shining lamp of knowledge. I show them my presence when they are very much in need of me, and I relieve their pain of separation. Atma bhavasta. He reveals himself according to his devotee's divine relationship with him, rasa. To a friend as a friend, to a mother as a child, to a wife as a husband, and to the sweethearts as a paramour. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left home and accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas, Mother Shachi could not tolerate the deep separation, and she began to cry. Shachi Devi was preparing excellent dishes, offering them to the deity and weeping, "Where is my Nimai? He's very fond of these curries, his favorite dishes, and Nimai is not here." Suddenly, Lord Chaitanya came and began to eat. Shachi Devi exclaimed, "Oh, Nimai is eating." And for the time being, her separation was relieved. Moments later, she reconsidered, "Did I see Nimai eating? But he is now a sannyasi in Jagannath Puri, so how could he have come here? Did I serve him? There must be a mistake." Then she examined the pots again to see if there was food there. Finding them empty, she began to conjecture whether even a dog or some other animal had come and eaten it. But during that moment, Nimai had actually come, and Mother Shachi saw him in broad daylight. That illumination is transcendental and not the knowledge that is generally known in our vocabulary. The acme of theism is parakiya rasa. Parakiya means another's. In every divine relationship, the Lord captures all. So now this is a very fine point that Srila Sridhar Maharaj makes here. And I don't believe that this explanation has been given by anyone else. It is something uniquely given by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. You know, generally this parakiya, right? Parakiya, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains here, means another's, right? And it generally refers to the paramour relationship with Krishna, right? That of a, you know, that in the relationship of conjugal love, paramour love. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj is he points out that actually this parakiya relationship, this conception, right, that Krishna doesn't quite belong to you, it's running through all of the relationships. And this is actually like a science. This is like a point that can be considered within the science of rasa, right? In the science of divine love, emotion, divine relationships. And it is something that we can appreciate from the mundane parallel, right? That if let's say you have an adopted son, then you may always have a little fear in the back of your mind that the birth parents are going to come and claim the child, right? or say you're in school and you have a very good friend, but they transferred from another town and they have another group of friends in the original town. And you're not quite sure, oh, how much are they really my friends? Or maybe they're closer with their friends in the other school, in the other town, right? So this is like a point, right, in the science of relationships and love and emotion, right? That when there's this kind of fear, this anxiety, oh, my friend is not really my friend, perhaps, or my son is not really my friend, or my lover is not really my lover, then this enhances the intensity of the feeling and the relationship, right? And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj makes this point that this sentiment, this parakiya, it's running through all of the relationships in Vrindavan, and it's enhancing the preciousness, the rarity of the connection, right? In the whole of Vrindavan, where everyone follows the path of love, Raga Marg, this Parakiya Rasa is infused. The friends of Krishna sometimes say, some people say that Krishna is a resident of Mathura. They say he's the son of Vasudeva and he will soon go to Mathura. They say he is not our friend. Will we really lose his company? Then how will we be able to live in this jungle and herd the cows? They experience this apprehension. We may lose him at any time. This intensifies their friendly service to him. Similarly, Mother Jashoda thinks, some say that Krishna is not my son, he's Devaki's son. What is this? I won't admit this. He's my child. This idea enhances Jashoda's affection for Krishna. I may lose him, and how shall I live? Therefore, the Parakiya Rasa stresses the rarity of Krishna's relationship, because the possibility of losing his company is always in the background. But the highest intensity of service is to be found in the Madhura Rasa, consorthood group. In other rasas, there is the idea of suspense that he may go away. But in the consorthood relationship in the divine abode of Vrindavan, the consorts cross the direction of the scriptures and the society, which guide everyone to remain as husband and wife, swakiya. Padakiya and others has been accepted in the science of devotion as the highest conception, above the socially and scripturally sanctioned swakiya, one's own. Padakiya, or paramour relationship, nourishes the pastimes of Krishna by deceiving one who claims ownership over another, such as a husband over a wife or a parent over a child. The normally accepted relationship of swakiya is commonplace, but to cross the jurisdiction of the scriptures and society as a paramour means a greater risk, as if to commit sin. Thus, this relationship is very rare, and rarity enhances its intensity and value. The idea of deceiving the possessor to favor the non-possessor in the spiritual sense is a beautiful ornamental conception. Actually, in Krishna's case, there cannot be any state of paramourship, because in truth, he is the owner of everything. However, the divine arrangement is fashioned in this way to enhance the devotee's internal devotion for the Lord, just as food appears more tasteful when hunger is present. So this point, I think we were discussing recently, right? That this is, right, Krishna, he is actually the owner of everything. He's the supreme proprietor of everything. Everything belongs to him. He is God, right? But this is all, this word here is key, ornamental. It's all ornamental. It is all play, right? So things are fashioned, things are designed, just like as if a script or a drama is being made, right? All these points of emotion, feeling, relationship, they're being considered in how the script is playing out, how the story is playing out, right? Actually, there's no question of breaking any rules or crossing the strictures of morality and so on. But it is all a play to explore and intensify this world of divine love and emotion. In Vaikunta, the nature of the worship of Lord Vishnu is gorgeous, majestic, reverential, and awe-inspiring. But above that, in the highest conception, Godhead is human-like in nature and form. It is stated in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the teachings to Sanatana Goswami. So this conception of the divinity as something very distant, remote, awe-inspiring, majestic, this is one layer of relationship, one level of how the divinity expresses itself. But the most refined, the most original is that of this human-like expression. Why? Because the exchange of love is made possible to the highest extent. And now this is a beautiful Bengali verse from the scripture, Chaitanya Charitamrita, is being cited here. Krishna Jateka Kela Sarvotamanara Lila Narvaputahara Swarup Upavesh Venuka Navakishor Natava Nar Lila Hoyanurup Krishna Madhuradup Shuno Sanatan Cheduper Kakan Dubai Sabchi Bhuvan Sarvapani Kode Akashan. The highest form of Godhead is Krishna, who plays in his eternal divine pastimes like a human being. An ever youthful cowherd boy of Vrindavan, the best of dancers, he enjoys his pastimes, always playing his flute. His beauty is so charming and sweet that the whole universe is flooded by even the tiniest atom of it, and all beings are attracted irresistibly to him. He is approachable by all. We can find God nearest of all in a human feature. It has been explained how Krishna's form of human feature is the highest form of the absolute. According to the calculation of ecstasy, rasa, which is the common standard of measurement of the whole scope of the infinite. This is a very nice line, very beautifully articulated, right? First of all, we have to appreciate that there is gradation everywhere, right? But then what will be the measuring factor? What will be the criteria by which that gradation will be considered, right? You know, our gurus are suggesting rasa. You know, they are announcing rasa to be that criteria by which that gradation can be assessed, so to speak. And what is rasa? That is intensity of feeling, of love, of ecstasy, taste, right? So in assessing so many different conceptions of the divinity, we will consider how much intensity of love is available here. This is the common standard, like one of our very enthusiastic visitor here. We're about to start the arti. We have a few minutes now. Just like one analogy has been given by some of our teachers of gold, right? Just like there are so many currencies, right? Now I'm in UK, in London, and you know, here they use pounds. I just came from Hungary, they use forints. Going soon to Japan, they use yen. Many of you are in America using dollars, right? But I cannot go back to Hungary now and try to spend pounds there, right? So what is the universal standard, right? That is gold, right? Gold is useful everywhere. It's not limited in the way that currency is, right? So rasa is like that. Rasa is the gold standard. Rasa is the common need. Fulfillment of the heart. How much can your spiritual conception fulfill my heart, fulfill my need for love, for intimacy, for charm, for beauty? So let's see if we can finish this. So by now, these 5 principal relationships with the divinity are being described. By the development of Shanta, which is translated here as tranquility or passive, peaceful relationship. Dasya, service relationship. Sakya, friendship. Vatsalya means a parental relationship. That your love becomes so developed, so high that you think you have to take care of the absolute, the divinity, that he can't manage without you. This is a very high type of love. Madhura, right, is the conjugal lover's relationship. And then Parakya, the paramour, the secret lover relationship. This is scientifically proven without whimsical or blind faith. If we follow the line of Rupa Nuga Bhajam, devotion following the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, which originates from Sri Chaitanya Dev, this scientific basis can be appreciated. The previous acharyas or previous teachers have left comprehensive teachings for us on how to follow, conceive, and attain all these things. So that comes to the end of that commentary. And so we've now completed these verses 8 to 11 of the 10th chapter, which are described as the chatur-sloki, or 4 principal verses of Bhagavad-Gita, which are describing, the nature of Sri Krishna, right, as the highest expression of the absolute, of the divinity, the source of all and everything, the cause of all and everything. And then also describing something of the nature of his beloved, most elevated devotees. And then also the nature of their reciprocal relationship in divine love. So very, very rich. Very rich explanations here by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. We have a few minutes left. Does anyone have any final comments or questions before we close today? They're about to start their evening arati worship here.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful class today.
Oh, thank you, Krishna Keshav Guru. Thank you for your kind words. Okay, well, I may sign off because they are about to start the evening program here. Thank you all so much for your wonderful company. And I'll be with you all next week again in Siget Zentmiklos in Hungary, our ashram there. And I hope you all have a wonderful, inspiring weekend. Thank you, Mari, for joining us. I hope today wasn't too much for you. We're actually going into some quite deep topics, what normally I may not discuss with persons joining for the first time. So I hope it wasn't too much. Okay. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavad-Gita Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees, sincere seekers Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gaur Premanand Haribo. See you all next time.
Dandavats.
Thank you, Dandavats.